Choosing a mediator both sides can trust. That is our topic for today, part of the series Mediating with and Without Attorneys with Tye Bourdoney. Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and Podcast by instantmediations.com, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact-dependent. Hey everyone, this is attorney Mac Pierre-Louis, attorney, mediator, arbitrator, working throughout Florida and Texas.
And Natalia Olowska-Czajka, advocate, mediator, and arbitrator from Warsaw, Poland, and also from Florida.
And Tye Bourdoney, director of mediation at CPLS PA, primary mediation trainer, and a full-time mediator.
Hey, welcome back everybody. So this episode, we're talking about choosing a mediator that both sides trust. This is an issue that comes up a lot where, let's say, a party gets invited to a mediation by another party, and the party who's invited is wondering whether or not the mediator that is being proposed, is trustworthy or impartial or neutral or somebody who is not going to be biased in the other side's pocket. And so this goes into a lot of mediator ethics. And so, Tye, of course, you're a mediator trainer, and so you're dealing with this all the time on the ethics of mediations. But let's have a discussion, guys, to, I guess, lay some fears aside for the people who are out there, the parties who have trouble and conflict in their lives, and they want to have resolution to certain problems. How do they go about making sure that they're going to get to the table and speak to a mediator with the other side who they can actually trust? Thoughts?
It's a good question, I think, primarily because it's one of the first fears that the mediator encounters when you start dealing with the folks, but that the folks like, it's a tumultuous process to begin with. Your life is being just one thing after another. It's change. It's one of the worst times in some people's lives, and they're really worried about everything that they have to figure out, the equitable distribution, the kids, and maybe they're really arguing with the folks. And so, I think the first and most important thing is that from a mediator's perspective, when I get a phone call, you get a phone call from one side or the other, or maybe an attorney. Why do mediators get chosen? Because based on the case, the attorneys will say, oh, this case, I need Mac, I need Natalia. Oh, Tye can really handle this case, because we all kind of have different kind of fortes. And I'm one of those mediators, for instance, that I can really get folks calm, and I can get them to trust me. And so one, I want to say, no mediator can be forced upon you, right? Everybody has to agree upon the mediator. You can be ordered to mediation, sure. So we hear sometimes we talk about pre-suit mediation. That is, the parties, they want to try and figure it out more amicably. That's great. I love when that happens. And so that's a pre-suit mediation, as opposed to somebody's filed and then the court orders you to mediation. In Florida, they will make you go to mediation in family cases if there's property at issue, or if there are children that need, issues with the children. But regardless, whether it's pre-suit, whether it's, court ordered, you do not have to agree on the mediator. One, everybody has to be comfortable with their mediator. And so when I get a call, it's really important for me, and I let whoever it is know, even if it's an attorney, I want to talk to the other side. I want them to get the chance to know that I am everyone's neutral, that I want them to trust me because they've talked to me, and I'm going to talk to everybody the same exact way. And I'm going to make sure that they know that. And I want to be very transparent. I want them to know, hey, all of our communications, I'm going to copy everybody on them unless either of you want to talk privately to me. I'm always going to say that we can talk privately and everything is confidential. But as we're leading up to the time that we're going to meet, I prefer that we are all on the same thread, that there's no questions. The person who you should both not have any questions about is me. And so how we talk with the parties is really, really important. They need to not worry where we're concerned, because if they trust us, then they trust the process. If they trust the process, then they'll hear us when we bring the other side. So it's those first communications are so important to make sure that everybody is comfortable. Plus, they're nervous, they're upset, they're angry, and they need to know that if you can curse, you can scream, you can cry, it's okay. I'm here for you, just like I'm here for the other party as well, So it's
Yeah, but I do
Please.
believe that there are two more fears that come with that. First is that I'm going to be judged by the mediator. I go there and they are going to judge me. That's first. And second, I don't know if I can really go into mediation because the mediator was suggesting by the other party's lawyer. They know each other. So the mediator knows the mediator knows the attorney. So I'm in trouble. I don't know. I don't want this attorney. What
Or
about that?
mediator, yeah. Absolutely. I think it's also important for the mediator. We know this, right? And we've heard that so many times that at some point when I'm talking to the other side, not the first one who contacted me, but I want them to know if there are any issues. Do I know the attorney? Have I worked with that attorney before? I have to disclose, and I should disclose, right? Because if they're going to trust me, if I'm being transparent. So if there is a conflict, if I've mediated with the attorney before, I'm going to let them know in a very nice, easy manner. And I'm going to put it somewhere in my, discussion with them. And plus, I would tell you, everybody comes to mediation with a little different worry, and so you get the sense. And so the mediator, me, I always talk about kind of like Bruce Lee, be like water. The mediator has to be very fluid. And as you're listening to them, their concerns are going to come out fast. And so then you take your cue from them and then you go where they need you to go. But the important thing is especially in the beginning, I want them to trust me. And so you can hear in my voice, I'm trying to talk in a way that is empathetic, is compassionate, is, nice and trustworthy. And I want them to see that I'm not the one that they have to worry about, that hopefully I'm the one who can help them bridge these issues. Hopefully I'm the one who can help them get, across that finish line. And I'm going to listen. All right. I'm going to let them know, see and feel that I'm hearing them, because when we do that, when I'm quiet and I'm listening, you're filling the gaps in all on your own, right? It's, okay, they're getting me. Tye understands me. Natalia is hearing what I'm saying. Mac agrees with me. I never said that. We're not saying that. But just the process of being a good empathetic listener can work wonders. Sometimes it's how we deal with the parties is half the battle. Sometimes
Tye,
it really is.
let me ask you, earlier you had mentioned something to the effect that in Florida, you are required to go attend mediation. But I think you said that the person does not have to have a certain mediator, like forced upon them. Just wanted to get clarity on that for people who might be listening, because a lot of times, especially in Texas, for example, the judge has the power to refer the parties to mediation, especially if one side asks the judge to, because the two sides are having a really hard time choosing and picking a mediator. And so this is very common. And so if most instances it doesn't happen, people voluntarily will choose mediation by agreement. But in the rare case where a judge orders a specific mediator, John Doe or Jane Doe, and the parties have to go see that individual,
Mm.
Do you think that there's not that much risk of feeling of having the bias problem there because that mediator was chosen by a third party neutral like a judge, or do you think that that concern is still going to be there for the parties?
I mean, it's a great question, but like you, it doesn't happen often that you find yourself in that place that someone keeps on. So a party can disagree with the choice of mediator, even if it's ordered by the court. At least in Florida, but there would be a reason. Something would come up. Once in a blue moon, you get somebody who is just up problematic across the board, and there's just nothing that can. And so I can imagine the court then having to imagine if someone 3 times said, "I don't want that mediator. I don't want that mediator. I don't want that mediator." But I've never seen that. But I think what I have seen is, for some reason, someone they don't like that mediator, or they could say no. But typically when it's ordered, so if it's ordered, it's going to go to some ADR department, alternative dispute resolution department, or mediation department. In my case, I worked at the courthouse department, mediation department, and we have a rotation, so, if I got this case, then the next mediator in queue gets the next case. Now, by the same token, you can also request mediators. Right? You can do that too. Not only can you say, "Oh, I don't want that mediator," you could say, "Hey, can we use this mediator?" And so someone can be ordered to the case, someone can be suggested, and then someone can say, "Well, what about this one?" Or, "No, I don't agree." That's the great thing about mediation, is it must be a consensual process, and typically it works out just fine. And once in a blue moon, though, there'll be some hiccup, but typically, if the mediator can get through to the parties, a good mediator can, and get everybody at ease and help them move forward, because mediation is that safe place. And we have to make sure that before mediation begins, we've set that stage to get them ready, their heads ready for, okay, maybe this will work. Let's try, case by case though.
Tye and Mac, but imagine that the parties already know they want to go to mediation, and they want to find a mediator themselves. So they don't know anybody. They just want to find a good mediator. And as we all know, and I think that everybody should know, mediators also specialize in different areas.
Yeah.
You might want someone who will mediate your family case, your custody or divorce case, or your property settlement. But you might also need someone who will be a professional in elderly care mediation.
Yeah.
You might need someone else. So how to get to a mediator that will be experienced in this field, or at least willing to indulge themselves in this particular area and be competent in it?
Well, that's right. That's a great question. How does, especially an attorney is one thing. That's they're like, you know what, I think this would be, Ty'd be great for this one, or and because we get chosen for different things. But what about the process? How do they find us? My experience tells me that what they do is they typically go to Google, and if they know about mediation. The mediation is still relatively new in Florida. It's only like 25 years old, more than that, but less than 30 years old ish. For the legal community, that's not very old, and folks sometimes have no idea about mediation. So it's helpful when they do know about mediation. That's what's great about you guys at instantmediations.com. That is your mission. And in time, more folks will know, and I think we're all getting that way. But how do they? I think they typically Google if someone doesn't refer them. But I get more folks, because I'll always ask when my phone rings, "Can I ask you, how'd you hear about me?" "Oh, I found you on Google." And so that's what they're going to do. They're going to search on Google, and hopefully the mediator has done a good job in putting themselves in the right place. But whatever kind of mediation it is that you need, Google family mediator, and in your area, right? Because it's probably better to have a mediator who's familiar with that kind of law in your area, although in our area nowadays I can mediate anywhere nowadays, but typically I get found because I've performed my SEO, and I've put myself out there in such a way that I'm going to pop up for the folks who I want to find me. But how exactly do they find us? Sometimes I don't know that they know, but hopefully they find this website, they find this video, and it's going to give them a little bit of help. Like I always like to tell folks, for instance, I can't say how many times I'm going to stress, well, and I'm your neutral mediator. I can't give legal advice. And it's not inappropriate for me to say, and everybody should consider speaking with an attorney. You can even bring an attorney with you. I'm always going to say that to both sides. And when I say things like that, it helps them recognize that they can trust me. And I'm going to even make suggestions. So for instance, I'm in Central Florida. Orlando, a nice big city, it has an attorney referral program for the Bar Association in Orange County, the Orange County Bar Association attorney referral program. I can't tell you how often, and it's very affordable. And for an hour of time, it's $50 or $75, something of that nature. And so I will let folks know, it's helpful for you to speak with someone. Even if you want to represent yourself, that's fine. But if you've gotten a consultation for an attorney who's licensed and who specializes in your area to let you know what you expect and then come to mediation, that's really helpful. And so hopefully they do it, but that they hear me telling them that, I think is also important, because it helps illustrate that you can trust me. I'm your neutral. I'm their neutral. And it's not inappropriate for us to give them, I think it might be inappropriate for us to give them specific names of attorneys, but not good organizations that can help them, or tell them how to find that attorney. Again, and I think it's Google family law attorney, Orange County, or whatever it is, that area that they're in, whatever county that they're in.
And if somebody does go on Google, they may, accidentally stumble upon what you mentioned earlier, which is instantmediations.com. And so I'm screen sharing right now the Instant Mediations website. And if you are listening to this podcast, of course, just go to instantmediations.com. Pretty quick and easy. But once you scroll down, there is a mediator directory where you can just click to find a mediator. And it's also on the top. But once people choose locate mediator and up comes the map, that's when you can find a mediator who's local to you. You were mentioning Orlando, for example. And so, Ty, of course, you're on the map, right, in that state. And so there's plenty of mediators out there. That's one way people can go about choosing mediator. One of the things that I like to do whenever I am I guess recommending to people how to choose a mediator who the other side is going to accept and want to,
as an attorney, you mean?
Yeah, is the person who's offering a certain mediator to the other side should give the other side at least 3 names. Okay, give 3 proposals of mediators for the other side to choose and pick from. And when they do, the other side is going to feel that you are not
Hopefully.
well, exactly, you are not choosing mediators who are just your friends, or you're not choosing mediators who might know you really well or be on your side. You're choosing mediators who have been presented to them to pick from. And that, I think, that empowers the person who receives the names, because that person will be like, well, I mean, all 3 of them can't be, bought and sold and in the other side's pocket. I mean, I'm being empowered to select. I think that goes a long way towards helping people settle on a mediator that they can both trust. And you need that kind of trust component. Otherwise, the mediation experience might be something that doesn't last very long. But
And
guys,
they'll Google you. They will look you up. They're gonna.
absolutely, yeah. I
Right.
think once the mediator starts losing their impartiality and they're being known to be biased on one person's pocket, that mediator is going to ruin the reputation. So certainly, mediators take this seriously. They
That's
want
not
to
what we
make
do.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah, that uh, people who come to them can trust them to do their work professionally. And so, guys, we have about a minute left. Give me any more closing remarks. What would you say to folks out there?
Natalia?
Yes, I want to say that mediation is not about judging. So no matter what you look like, no matter what you want to wear, as long as it's decent, no matter what accent you have, no matter what you actually have been through, mediator is there, impartial. And he's also ensuring that you are not attacked in the mediation. And even if it is someone suggested by the other party, still their level of professionalism and their training, please remember, mediators are trained. It takes a lot of time to become a good mediator, training and practice. So no matter who suggests to you a mediator, you should be certain that this person will meet the standards.
Yeah. Well said. And I think, it's also important when I'm talking to both of them that I'm stressing a lot of certain things, such as, so I don't make any decisions. You guys are going to make those decisions, and nothing is going to be forced upon you. Everything has to be mutually agreed upon. And it is okay if you don't agree on everything. It is okay. We can have a full agreement, partial agreement. We can reserve for the court to decide anything that you guys cannot agree upon. And we can do it. The process can, if we need to come back, if we need to we're going to do it the way you guys need it done. We're here for you. And so it's always getting them to see that I'm going to do whatever is best for you guys, and I'm going to do it in a way that, so long as I'm keeping my neutrality and I'm being transparent, you can know that I'm going to say the same thing in each side, and everything is also confidential. I'm also going to be stressing that. So if you're worried and you tell me something, I promise you, I'm not going to share it with the other side. And so those first conversations are really important to building rapport between the mediator and the parties who are going to meet, because if they're comfortable with you, then they're more vested in the process, and that's what we have to do. So well said.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll be back with mediating with or without attorneys with Tye Bourdoney. That's his series. And as always, thank you, my colleagues, for this great conversation. And make sure you guys check out nsmediations.com. We'll put that on the description of this video. And if you're listening, check out the website. All right, everybody. Until next time.
Take care.